Not many quarterbacks can make this throw. A perfectly placed laser spiraling across the field, gliding through the air, and threading directly into a net the size of a window. It's the kind of drill NFL coaches use to separate quarterbacks who are just good from quarterbacks who are different. And in Cleveland, during a simple practice session, one quarterback made that throw. Shedeur Sanders, not the veteran starter, not the rookie drafted ahead of him, the third-string quarterback, the one everyone said needed to wait his turn. He was the only one to hit it clean, crisp, on target, no bounce. Just a beautiful strike that dropped straight through the net. Teammates noticed, fans noticed, clips started flying. But if you only followed the headlines afterward, you might have missed it entirely. Because in the media, his name was barely mentioned. A tweet here, a vague reference there. Even one reporter who flat out credited a Browns quarterback for hitting the shot without actually saying his name. Think about that. The one player who did the impossible thing, and somehow the focus shifted elsewhere. Was it just an oversight? Or is there a deeper reason people aren't ready to give Shedeur his credit? Fans don't see just a drill. They see the future in a single throw. They see a quarterback who looks sharper than his position on the depth chart would suggest. They see a player rewriting expectations every time he gets a chance to touch the football. And here's the best part. If this is what Sanders is doing when nobody's really watching, what happens the moment he finally gets his shot on Sundays? It was supposed to be just another practice drill. Quarterbacks lined up one after another, aiming to thread the football through a small target net about 20 yards away. On paper, it's routine, quick reps to work on accuracy and ball placement. But in reality, it's the type of drill that separates highlight reels from wasted throws. First up was Dillon Gabriel. Decent release, decent arc, but the ball missed wide. Another try, off again. Close, but not clean. Then came Shedeur Sanders. Calm, collected, zero hesitation. One smooth flick of the wrist and the ball sliced perfectly through the air, straight into the center of the net. No wobble, no rattle, dead on target. Teammates reacted instantly. Coaches might not have said much, but players know when a throw is special. The clip hit social media in seconds, and within hours, fans were replaying it over and over. Because it wasn't just a pass, it was a statement. The crazy part? Shedeur was the only quarterback that day to land the throw clean. Not the starter, not the highly drafted rookie ahead of him. Just the so-called third-string guy putting the ball exactly where it belonged. To some, it's just practice. But to others, to fans watching closely, it looked like a glimpse of what makes Sanders different. Accuracy that doesn't rely on scheme. Confidence that doesn't flinch under pressure. Precision that screams QB1 potential. And while the net drill might seem small compared to the chaos of game day, it was enough to spark one big question across Cleveland. If Shedeur can make the throws nobody else can, how long can the Browns keep him off the field? You'd think after a moment like that, the only quarterback hitting the impossible throw, reporters would be racing to highlight his name in bold headlines. But instead of recognition, Shedeur Sanders got the quietest praise you could imagine. Local Browns reporters mentioned the drill. They described how quarterbacks lined up, tested their accuracy, and how one of them managed to nail the net shot. But here's the catch. Shedeur's name was left out. Just a quarterback. As if anyone could have done it. Mary Kay Cabot, one of the biggest local voices covering the Browns, even tweeted about it, writing that a Browns QB made the throw, but didn't say who. Fans noticed instantly. They filled her replies with one-word answers, Shedeur, because everyone knew it wasn't Joe Flacco and it wasn't Dillon Gabriel. It was the rookie wearing number 12, the one plenty of people already believe is special. And it wasn't just one reporter. Time after time, Shedeur's moments in practice seemed to be minimized or brushed over. while every small victory from the veterans gets magnified. Fans have started to call it a pattern, like the media doesn't want to give him credit too early, or maybe doesn't want the pressure building around him. But here's the irony. By not saying his name, they made it louder. By refusing to give him proper recognition, they turned one simple practice clip into a rallying cry for his supporters online. The same story that might have lasted a day became a trending conversation. And suddenly the conversation wasn't just about a throw. It was about why the only quarterback who made it wasn't being acknowledged. Because when credit gets hidden, fans start digging. And that's when narratives get bigger than the plays themselves. By now, fans are starting to wonder, is it a coincidence or is there a pattern? Because this isn't the first time Shedeur Sanders has delivered a standout moment at practice, only for local coverage to sidestep him. When Joe Flacco completes a routine 10-yard out, reporters rush to highlight his veteran timing. When Gabriel connects on a simple screen, it's written up as progress. But when Shedeur slices a ball through a net, suddenly it's just a quarterback doing it. No name, no credit. It feels subtle, but for fans paying attention, it feels deliberate. Tony Grossi, a longtime Cleveland media figure, has a history of being notoriously tough on young quarterbacks. According to fans on social media, he barely acknowledges number 12 unless it's tied to depth chart talk. Meanwhile, veteran-focused commentary dominates his segments. The one exception? Tony Rizzo, who's openly given Shedeur credit and pushed back against the noise. But he seems to be in the minority. Now, this wouldn't matter much in most cities. But in Cleveland, where the quarterback position has been a carousel of heartbreak for decades, fans get defensive fast. They don't just want another project, they want someone who looks like the real thing. And to them, Shedeur already does. That's why the bias in coverage only fuels the movement behind him. Fans aren't waiting for reporters to validate what they're watching. They're doing it themselves, clipping videos, flooding comment sections, even creating hashtags demanding recognition. For every story that ghosts Shedeur's name, the narrative online only grows louder. They don't want him to shine yet, but we see it anyway. And maybe that's the irony. The harder traditional media tries to brush past Sanders, the more his following builds without them. Because fans don't need permission to believe. They've already seen Cleveland's future quarterback. For most rookies buried on the depth chart, practice is just preparation. Run scout team, stay sharp, wait for an opportunity. But for Shedeur Sanders, every practice drill has become his game day. As QB3, he isn't promised snaps on Sundays. So instead, he treats every rep in Berea like it's fourth quarter under the lights. When he lines up against Cleveland's starting defense, those are his stadiums. When he drops back on a routine drill, those throws are auditions. And what's emerging is a legend that builds quietly, clip by clip. No box scores, no primetime broadcasts, just short videos shared online of throws the other quarterbacks couldn't make. Touch passes in tight windows, red zone lasers, that now viral net drill. For teammates, these aren't just highlights. They're daily reminders. Receivers know when the ball feels different. Linemen admit they block harder when the quarterback is decisive. Even defenders respect the way Shedeur attacks every rep like it counts. And for fans, that's become the magic. While coaches shuffle depth charts with politics, supporters see proof with their own eyes. Proof that the supposed third-string rookie doesn't play like one. Proof that if this is what he's doing in practice, he'll be ready the moment his real chance comes. In some ways, Shedeur has flipped the script completely. Practice isn't just development anymore. It's his stage. And the audience is growing louder every single day. Because legends don't wait for permission. They build themselves long before the spotlight shows up. The Browns can list Joe Flacco as QB1. They can place Dillon Gabriel as QB2. They can tuck Shedeur Sanders at QB3 all they want. To the fans, none of it matters. Because Cleveland fans have lived through decades of false starts under center. 40-plus quarterbacks in just over 2 decades, each sold as the guy, only to flame out in frustration. So when they see one who feels different, it doesn't matter what the official lineup says. They stopped trusting paper depth charts. They trust their own eyes. And right now, their eyes are telling them Shedeur Sanders looks sharper, calmer, and more accurate than the veterans ahead of him. They're not swayed by coaches' politically correct answers or reporters skating past his name. They see the net drill. They see the red zone reps. They see a rookie who doesn't play like a rookie. That's why every clip of Sanders gets traction. That's why fans blow up every vague tweet, calling reporters out when they try to sidestep his performance. The hype is no longer about where he is on the roster. It's about where everyone believes he's headed. And in Cleveland, belief always outweighs labels. We've seen it too many times. The shiny name at the top of the chart eventually disappoints, while the city rallies behind the underdog fighting for a chance. That story is ingrained in the Browns' DNA. The only difference this time, Shedeur isn't just an underdog story to feel good about. He looks like somebody who can actually break the cycle. And for a fan base this desperate, that's all the spark they need. On the surface, Shedeur Sanders is just another rookie quarterback fighting for snaps. But step back, and you realize he's bringing something far bigger into Cleveland. A brand that's already larger than most veterans. Before taking his first NFL snap, Shedeur had national endorsement deals, NIL success, and tens of millions of online views from his Colorado days. He isn't just a player. He's a face that moves jerseys, tickets, and conversations. That matters more than people admit. For the Browns, that spotlight cuts both ways. On one hand, Sanders is exactly what a franchise with decades of quarterback instability craves: youth, talent, and built-in attention. On the other hand, every rep, every clip, every misstep comes under the magnifying glass of a national audience. Other rookies can develop quietly. Sanders doesn't get that luxury. And that's where things get dangerous for the coaching staff. Keeping him at QB3 isn't just a development choice anymore. It's a narrative choice. It sends a message. Either you believe in the future or you're afraid of it. The more fans see highlights online, the harder it gets to justify burying him. The crazy part? The more they try to keep him quiet, the louder his star power grows. Social media has already transformed his practice reps into viral moments. National outlets pick up clips of his throws like they're game day highlights. And whether they like it or not, the Browns are now tied to the Shedeur Sanders storyline. He's no longer just competing for a starting spot. He's competing against an entire system that underestimates the weight of a brand. And little by little, it looks like Sanders is winning that battle too. At the end of the day, this isn't just about a single pass through a practice net. It's about what that throw revealed: a young quarterback too talented to ignore, and a fan base that won't let his name be hidden. Shedeur Sanders entered Cleveland as a 5th-round pick, buried on the depth chart. But every clip, every drill, every practice moment tells a different story. This is not a rookie waiting quietly for an opportunity. This is a quarterback quietly forcing the conversation, whether the media or the coaching staff want to admit it or not. Local reporters may try to downplay his name, calling it just a drill, or crediting a quarterback instead of saying who it was. Coaches may stick to safe answers, praising veterans while deflecting on Sanders. But fans see through all of it. They aren't measuring him by a roster slot. They're measuring him by what their own eyes are telling them. Shedeur looks like a starter. And that's why this story is only growing. Because in a city used to cycling through quarterbacks, fans latch on the moment they see poise, accuracy, and leadership they can believe in. With every practice rep he aces, the pressure builds. With every clip that goes viral, the spotlight grows. The Browns may still call him QB3 on paper. The media may try to keep his name quiet a little longer. But to the people watching, the fans filling comment sections, the teammates noticing on the field. Shedeur Sanders is already more than that. It's only a matter of time before practice clips turn into Sundays. And when that moment comes, Cleveland won't just be witnessing another quarterback. They'll be witnessing the start of a new era.